Man, I'm excited. I'm excited to make this video. I was literally just sitting here, just trading gold, and I'm like, you know what? I want to make this video. If I were to start from ground zero, personally, I'm gonna go like fully in depth into this. But I want to break down these seven key things that I would do differently. Not necessarily me do differently, honestly. If I had to teach like if I had a kid and I was teaching them from ground zero, because me personally, I don't ever really regret anything because me going through what I went through, going through those trials and tribulations is what made me who I am today. And the reason why I don't ever like will want to change anything or start from zero because the Bible talks about it so many times. We got James, the first chapter of James. It talks about glory when you go through tribulations. We got a couple of I think it's verse 12 where it talks about in James as well. Blessed is the man that endure temptations. To rejoice when we go through tribulations. To like because when we go through those things, it talks about like gold. When gold is like put through the furnace, this has to go through this X, Y, and Z in order for it to be, gold. And that's what we got to go through. So I never regret what I went through because everything that I went through made me who I am today. But if I had a kid or if I had like to teach somebody from literally zero, like they had no knowledge of trading whatsoever, these are the exact steps that I would follow from zero. So let's get straight to it, right? The first thing would be focus just as much on building a relationship from not from God. I'd meant to say with God. Sorry about that. Focus on building a relationship. Where are we at? Sorry, with God and breaking free from stronghold. That's what it was. Sorry, 1 second. Perfect. Focus on just as much as building a relationship with God. Why does it still say from? It don't matter. You guys know what I'm trying to say. Focus on building a relationship with God and breaking free from strongholds. And this was very, very key for me because in the beginning stages, my mind was so fixated on money, 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 money. Because for most people, for me particularly, when I got into trading, I didn't get into trading with like a background of it. I didn't grow up in a wealthy, successful family where money was like X, Y, and Z. Like a whole bunch of people in my family were businesses, and it was a 9 to 5 type of a thing, paycheck to paycheck type of a thing, more middle class, right? So for me, I already had certain strongholds in my mind. So when I got into the industry, seeing that you can make X, Y, and Z profits, unlimited profits, X, Y, and Z, it just boom. It was just like a dopamine hit. And I was rushing things too quick. All I was focusing on, was trying to make $1 million by X, Y, and Z, trying to make 6 figures by this, trying to make this, trying to do that, trying to do this and show off this and X, Y, and Z. Like I was just so focused on that. And that was a big issue for me. And that's one of the biggest reasons why, like I said, breaking free from those strongholds. Because a lot of the strongholds for me, it was never the technicals. The technicals are so simple and so easy, and I'll talk about that in this video as well. But the technicals were so easy to learn. I learned technical analysis within like my first month of trading. Like honestly, and I'll go in depth in about how I did that because I was like spending every single day, and that's gonna go into. I'm speaking too fast. That's gonna go into number three. I'm speaking too fast, right? Because a lot of the strongholds, like for example, greed, doubt, overconfidence, or lack of confidence, all these strongholds that you may deal with, lust, all these strongholds, they play a major, major, major role on the charts. If you have greed in real life, if that's a stronghold that you have in real life, it's going to correlate to the charts. And what you're doing is essentially exactly what happened in the Bible, right? Remember how God was supposed to take the people out of Egypt, and it was supposed to be what was it, a 12-day trip, and it ended up turning into like a 40 something year trip because of the disobedience. And a lot of the times, like one thing I learned, I could have been way lit, but it was the strongholds and it was my disobedience. It was the things that like the greed, the lack of confidence, the FOMO, all that type of things, that those strongholds that I was dealing with, and I wasn't trying to overcome that. I was just trying to get better on the charts instead of trying to work with those and build a relationship with God, so He can help me build those two. So that would be the number one for thing. Like just as much as you spend, like for me back then, I was spending like 14, 15 hours every single day. Just as much as I was doing that, I should have been putting as much info, like not information, as much instance on building my relationship with God, and it would have made the biggest difference. That's probably like the number one thing, honestly. The number one thing. That's why I have it as number one. Number one thing. Number two, very, very key. Keep quiet, go ghost, and cut out all the distractions. You guys got to understand, just because you broke free, well, you didn't do it, God broke you free. But just because God broke you free, because everybody, we all have that. God puts a black sheep in everybody's like household. Some people, you may be the one, or your kid may be the one, X, Y, Z, whatever the case may be. And everybody has that one black sheep. I was just that in mind. So you got to understand, just because you woke up, that doesn't mean everybody else wakes up. And especially when you first starting off and you not making any money, you're still learning, you're not doing X, Y, and Z. There's multiple reasons why it's very important to keep quiet. Because once you start talking, then especially at the beginning stages, now you have a whole bunch of noise, people telling you, oh, you shouldn't do this, that like it's too risky. How long is it gonna take X, Y, and Z, blah 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 blah. And remember this, a lot of people that tell you these stuff, they either tried it and they failed it themselves, or they heard it from others, or like outside things that cause them to not do it, so they push that onto others. And then on top of that, when you're telling people, let's say you're locked in for 2 3 months and you haven't made any like financial progress to them, but to you, you're lit, you're going crazy, like you feel so much better, like you're getting so much better with your studying, your analysis, like you're not focused on the money or nothing like that, like it's slowly coming in here and there. But you got all the outside noise who aren't going through what you're going through. Yo, like, how's the trading going? Have you did this? Have you did that? Have you X, Y, and Z? And people start like, you feel rushed to try to accomplish certain things when you start talking. And this isn't talking about like once you make profits. Now, once you make profits and stuff, still keep quiet, because then you're gonna have people that come in and just try to like use you and X, Y, and Z. Just keep quiet about all of it. But at the beginning stages, this is like the beginning stages, right? Go ghost and cut out all the distractions. Like cut out all those friends, all the life that you used to live. For me personally, when I did this, I literally cut out everything, man. God took away every single person in my life. Like I kid you not, it was maybe one or two people that I was like still cool with around that time. It was like a couple of people, right? And literally everybody just stopped hitting me up. Nobody was hitting me up. Nobody was like texting me. Nobody was checking in on me. And that's around the time I deleted social media for like a year. No social media. I stopped playing video games, because I was a video game addict, man. I was addicted to it. I stopped playing video games. I stopped watching TV. I literally cut, and I even to the point where I stopped working out, and that's gonna go into number three, which is not a good thing. And I was neglecting my health. I wasn't sleeping and none of that. That's not a good thing as well for me personally. Um, but to go back to it, like cutting out all the distractions, like cut out all those fake people, all the going out and partying and X, Y, and Z. Cut out all the let's say the drugs and all that. Cut out all those distractions. Stop letting, because all these people are gonna do is just gonna keep on tempting you, man. All these people are gonna do is try to tempt you to go back into a certain life. They're gonna try to push this and push that. It's like it's just so much outside noise for what, when a lot of people aren't doing those things. And another one of the biggest things is not just with people around you, but cutting out the distractions in the trading industry. That is probably one of the biggest things for me, because when I first started, like I was looking at everybody, and this person took 6 months to become successful. This person, it took them 3 years. This one, it took them six. This one, it took them two. This one, it took them this. And looking at their lifestyle, oh, they got this Lamborghini and stuff, like they got this, they got that. They tell you to do it this way. This person tells you to do it that way. This person tell you to do this. And I was just listening to so much outside noise of people telling me what I should do. Like for example, like a lot of people would tell me like, yo, you shouldn't trade on Sundays. X, Y, and Z. You shouldn't. You should wait until this. You shouldn't trade this pair at this time. You should only trade pair at this. And I'm like, I used to believe that, and I started doing my own thing. And I'm like, wait a minute. I make some of my best trades on Sundays. I make some of my best trades when I don't focus on times, especially on like pairs like gold, where I don't focus on times. And I've made a lot of my best trades at like 7 p.m., 9 p.m., 2 in the morning. 2 p.m., right? Even on Nas and indices, I'll make trades at 7 p.m., 8, but it's like only trade during New York session, right? I was listening to all this outside noise. You should do this, you should do that. That made so much like confusion. And I was like, listening to this person's strategy, listen to the way they do this, and listen to the way they do that. So I kept on listening, consuming so much information instead of just stop and just do my own thing. I already had the basic knowledge all I had to do was just do my own thing and just study from it. So that is number two. Number three, do not neglect your health physically and mentally. This was a major thing that I did personally. I neglected my health physically, mentally. I stopped working out. I was not going to the gym for like a full year. I was barely, like, I kid you not, for the first, like, I want to say 2 years of my journey, or year and some change, right? First, let's say I rounded off to 2 years. I literally, kid you not, I was averaging like 2 to 3 hours of sleep every single day. And like, I was literally like, this is what my whole routine was. Like, at first, when I first dropped out of college, like, I wasn't really delivery driver, nothing yet first. So I was spending like maybe 14, 15 hours a day studying. Then I was spending the other reading. Like, I was reading the Bible, I was reading books. Um, I would have put more emphasis on reading the Bible instead of reading like a whole bunch of other books, because the Bible tells us to do not be wary of the studying of many books. I would have put more emphasis on the reading the Bible and understanding the Bible first, and then yeah, I would add in like the other books later on. But I was doing the opposite, right? But I was still reading the Bible. I was reading, studying, reading, studying, reading, studying, reading, studying every single day, and it was even to a point, right, where every single night I would get up at like 12 o'clock in the morning, like 12, 1 ish, right? And I would go drive to a park that was in my city, and I would literally sit there for like maybe 2 or 3 hours every single day, just talking to God. And those were some of the best times, because God was revealing so much to me. He was revealing to me why He was cutting off those people in my life, why this, why that. He was just showing me some. He was breaking me free from the matrix. He was showing me all the real what was going on. So I'm so grateful for that. That's something that I would definitely put like a lot of emphasis on, like spending time away from like everything, like going out in nature, spending time actually traveling a little bit more, instead of so being locked in, like getting out, being in different environments, travel a little bit more just by myself, not to do anything, just being in different environments, going like hikes, going nature. That's something that I would have did differently at the beginner stages, because I would have put me in a lot better mental state instead of being so locked in a room every single day, 24/7. Like I said, neglecting my health. I wasn't working out at all. I was not eating clean, not eating good at all. I wasn't getting any sleep. I was barely getting any sleep. So I would literally, once I started delivery jobbing, I would like wake up, or even I probably no, I wasn't even asleep. I would stay up throughout the night. It'd be at around probably 9, 10 ish in the morning. I would drive all the way to Columbia, because that was because honestly, even at the beginning stage, and this is why I'm talking about like being quiet and working on those stone codes, because in the beginning stages, I was like embarrassed and nervous to like be delivery driving in my city, knowing that I dropped out of college to do this day trade and stuff. I felt like embarrassed, like for people picking on me and stuff like that. That was just that's a stronghold. That's something that like it's pointless. You should care less about what people think, right? But that's something I used to do. So I used to drive all the way to Columbia, which is probably like 30, 40 minutes away every single day. And then on top of that, it was like my home city was like pretty like a ghost town. You wasn't really gonna make no money there. Versus when I went to Columbia. Columbia is a more bigger city, so I was making double, triple of what I would have made in my home city, right? So I would go there every single day, and literally from like 11 in the morning to like 6 p.m., 7 p.m., I would delivery drive all day. And I would take my computer and notebooks and everything, and I would study while I was doing that, right? And like studying while I'm waiting on an order. Once I get the order, boom, like while I'm driving, I'm listening to the videos, like to the courses that I bought and stuff like that. I'll talk about that number four. I was like studying the videos, studying the courses while I was stopped on my computer, or on my phone, doing analysis and like studying and all that type of stuff, right? And then at 7, I would come home. And then once I came home, I would like eat something like that or do a little bit of studying. And from like probably 10, like 8, 9, 10 ish, like roughly anywhere between like 8 to 10 is when I would go to sleep. And I would go to sleep from like 8 to 12, like 8 to 12 every single day. Like I remember I used to always wake up at like 12 o'clock, because I had an alarm every single, I remember I had a whole bunch of alarms. But I always wake up at like 12, 1 every single day. So that was like those couple of hours of sleep. And then from there, I would get up, go talk to God for a couple of hours, come back and then literally just study. all night, 2, 4, 3 in the morning. I remember like in my Snapchat. I remember looking at my Snapchat. I had like so much memories of me studying and back testing, and all that type of stuff. I may potentially, if I do like really do some editing, add some of those in here so you guys can see. Um, but yeah, that's one thing I would not neglect. That I would go to the gym, workouts, actually like stop rushing the process. I would stop rushing it, take my time, and actually enjoy the process. That would have made it so much better. I would have become successful a lot more quicker with it too. If that was different, right? So number four, invest, 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 invest. This is one of the things. This is an issue that I never had. Like I actually, this is wasn't an issue for me. It's just like this is something that I would couldn't constantly do. I did this invest. I never looked at anything that I bought like with trading or me buying let's say I blew an account because I blew so many accounts, but I blew an account and I put more money back into it. I look at all those investments, me buying courses and X, Y, and Z. I didn't hesitate. If I didn't have the money to invest in it, I was like, yo, I gotta lock in. What do I need to do to get to the point where I can invest in it? I will literally go delivery drive extra hours just so I can buy this course. Just so I can buy a $700 course or $500 course or $1,000, one on one. I would literally do that. Like that's what it was. I never looked at it as like, oh, I'm buying. No, it was always an investment to me. I invested in knowledge. I invested in wisdom. Like whatever it is that I needed to buy. Whether that was investing in like let's say courses, cool. Investing in like different like equipment that could help me. Like because back then I had like a little small like a small like little computer, and I got a better computer. Then I had like small TV, so I got an actual monitor where I was able to like actually look at it a little bit better. Investing in all the things that I needed to like investing in a different, better environment for me, like to be more locked in and focused. I got a better desk, so I like wasn't just crammed up. I got a better chair because I knew I was sitting down for all these hours. It's like investing in these small things, right? That I would do. I was investing in myself whatsoever. Invest, invest, invest. Everything that you look at, I looked at it as yo. There's gonna be a point in time where I make this back times 20. Who cares how much I invest now? Like I know I'm doing this for a better reason. Now it's different if I was like just buying a bunch of money, as let's say I was going out and clubbing and drinking every single weekend. That's not an investment. That is like me just wasting money. Versus me buying courses, me putting money to in a trading account, whatever the case may be. Those were all looking as investments to me. So whatever it is, invest in your health, and it's not just with trading wise, but like for me, when I started actually working out, I started investing in my health. I was buying like the workout programs, investing in the equipment for my calisthenics and all that type of stuff like that. Investing in like potential like coaches and stuff. I was investing I didn't care. I didn't matter. It doesn't matter how much to me it costs. I'm gonna invest in it. So that's one of the biggest things I would say. Invest, invest, invest. Don't listen to the outside noise because a lot of people tell you that you shouldn't buy this or you shouldn't put your money into this. Like what if it X, Y, and Z? All the fear that goes back to what I said, like keeping quiet for number two. So that's another big thing, right? Number five, stay on demo for as little as possible. And this is another thing that I did do, and it had a big, big impact for me. I was on demo for as little as possible. Literally, the only reason why I had a demo account was to understand like the lot sizes. And I remember I did this exercise that like broke me free from the matrix and really looked at a whole different, and it was on gold too. I remember I had like a demo account. I think it was anywhere between like 100 to 300k. I don't remember how much that demo account was, and I literally remember doing a point zero 0.01 lot size, a point 0.1 lot size, a standard lot size, a 10 lot, and a 100 lot all at the same time, right? And I was just looking at the fluctuations in price. I'm like, okay, there's gonna be a point in time where I'm gonna be able to use a point, because obviously I would have to start off with a point zero 0.01, but point 0.1 lot size. And okay, a standard lot. Okay, there's going to be a point in time where I can use a 10 lot. There's going to be a point in time where I use a 100 lot because I was seeing the profits and seeing the movements that happened with it. Like I would place the trade, like let's say for right here, example right here, and I would see price go up and looking at those different positions and seeing how much like a move on a 100 lot like this. I'm like, okay, this is gonna get to a point in time when I can get there. The only thing that changes is the lot size. The skill, the strategy stays the exact same. The only thing that changes is the lot size. Boom. Once that clicked, I'm like, all right, cool. So for me, I wasn't using demo account. I wasn't trading on demo accounts. The only like demo accounts you would call it is like prop firms, but that's still like investing to a challenge to potentially go live, right? But like actually just doing a random demo account, nah, that wasn't me. I would rather put in $100, $200, whatever I had at the time, $50, $300, excuse me, whatever I had at the time. I would rather invest that because I had an actual, I can actually really get the feel of and actually really be able to critique myself. And that was like one of the best things that I've done because especially when it came for me like going to back test my strategy, it was a lot easier because I had actual data of me actually because think about it when you have a demo account and you're not really like it's not your real profit or real money like you don't take it as serious. That's for me personally. I never took it as serious. But even if it was like if I was making, let's say for example, $1,000 a week, right? And I put $500 into the market, and I lost like $100 of that, or $50 of that. I felt that because like that's half of what I just made in a week. Like basically, I invested half of what I made in a week. And it's like if I lost $100 in a day, I'm like, yo, that's something I made in a week. Almost what I made in a week, I lost that in a day, right? So that's something that I used to always like do. I had a that's why for one I invested in so many accounts. Like I always say this all the time, and I'm never ashamed to. I think I invested in probably like 30 plus accounts in my journey, 30 plus. Whether that was like actually taking prop firm challenges or live accounts. Most of them was live accounts. It was $100 accounts, $200, $400, $1,000, 1,500, 2,000, whatever the case may be. Like in that range, right? But I was never like, yo, I'm about to give up on this. It like to me, giving up was never an option. But that's like one of the biggest things. Number five is to stay on demo for as little as possible. And like I said, everything that I'm saying is what I would personally do. I'm not this person, and like if I was teaching somebody, I'm not this person who's all almighty and you gotta follow this way. If you don't do it this way, you're not gonna be X, Y, and Z. Listen, I genuinely really don't care. If you do things your way, do it your way. I'm not, and I don't subscribe to those people who feel like if you do this is the only way to do it. If you don't do it this way, you're not going to become successful. I really don't care. There's a million ways to become profitable in the market. You choose whichever one you want to do. I'm just teaching and just sharing my experience that helped me the most, right? So straight to number six, learn the basics and start applying them to build your own strategy. Experience is the best teacher. And the reason why this, and this is something that I did as well. In the beginning stages, I knew like the basic of technical analysis in literally like a couple of weeks, man. Like learning support resistance, easy. Like learning the candlestick patterns, that took like once I actually studied and learned the ones that I wanted to use, easy. Market structure, that takes like a little bit of time because it gets a little bit more complex. Like for example, like you got the internal structure may be bearish, but the overall structure may be bullish, and like X1Z, like learning that type of stuff. Yeah, that took time. But just learning the basic, like learning what technical analysis is, like that's very easy. That stuff you can buy for free. Like you don't even need to invest it in courses. The thing about it, like I never looked at it as anytime I seen a course and opportunity, I'm investing in it. Because one thing I learned about the courses aspect of things, that the people, most people that like do their courses, they give it into you a way that's like a what's the word, like a step by step type of a thing, like an A to Z. When you're just searching up on YouTube and you're learning from different people all at one time, different people teach in different ways. Their step one, or let's say for example their step four may have been another person's step two or their step eight, or they didn't even have that step in there. So everybody teaches in so many different ways. One person may tell you to start off doing this, the next person may tell you to start off doing this. So it's like YouTube Academy is just like it's this big jumbled up of information that you should do, because that's what I started off with. I learned like when I was learning the basics before I like bought the courses and stuff like that, I literally was just looking up how to day trade. What is day trading? And getting the knowledge of day trading and X, Y, and Z. Because like day trading is day trading. It don't matter who you learn it from. Basically, day trading is day trading. Then when it came to like the pips and all the lot sizes, okay, boom. Like I learned that from YouTube. It was this one guy that I really spent a lot of the time learning from his, because he taught really good. I forgot his name. I think it was like Rain Teo or something like that. It was like it was some guy. I forgot. I don't remember his exact name, but I learned a lot of stuff from him. And then I started buying the courses. And the biggest thing, the biggest difference is applying it. Because for me, I always felt like I needed to keep on going back and watch videos. Like I needed to keep on going back and watch support and resistance when I learned support resistance months ago. Why am I still watching videos on support resistance? Apply it. That was the biggest thing. I was so much in a consuming state. I was watching courses for hours, literally hours and hours and hours and hours and hours. I was studying, taking notes. But the biggest thing that I should have done, that I would teach differently, would to be applied more. Once you get it, then go to the charts and now keep on. Instead of rewatching those videos, record yourself and do your own videos. Like essentially like me studying, like I would go back and just mark up support resistance. I would literally, instead of going back and watching the videos over and over and over again, I would do it myself because that would help me build my recognition with it and help me build my strategy a lot more. That's the biggest thing, is like all these things that I would have learned, apply them a lot more. So once I had the basic knowledge, had the notes and stuff, cut out all the YouTube videos, cut out all the courses, cut out all the teachers and all the XYZ, and just do me and build my thing. And that's what I did. And me doing that, I made my strategy very simple. That's why I only look at three things: support resistance, market structure, candlestick. That's it. I don't care about uh um moving averages or none of that. I don't use none of that stuff no more. I don't care about like trend lines. I use them here and there, but like I don't care about VWAPs how I used to use all the extra stuff. I don't care about that. My strategy is very, very simple. I need all three to be present at the same time. If they're not present, I'm not taking a trade. If price is trading at a support area and price is bullish, but I don't get a candlestick, I'm not entering the trade. That automatically makes that invalid. If all three are present, I'm going to take the trade. If all three are not present, I'm not going to take the trade. And me doing that, I was able to actually see that more times than not, when I follow these three things, it wins. More times than not, it wins. Same thing with my trade management strategy, right? I give all praise to the Most High for that. Um, but number seven, the last thing that I would say is keep showing up every day and already believe that you're living the life that you want to live. One thing that I started doing later on into my journey, not at the beginning wise, which was detrimental to me. I looked at every single, because back then I was making like $10 profits, $5. I remember trading like GU making out like $5 profits, $6 profits, and X, Y, and Z, and I was just focused on that, and I was just focused on rushing to get to the next point. But once I started, getting closer to God, like I said, focus number one, and number three. Once I started doing that later on into my journey, I looked at it completely different. I looked at it as, yo, these same $10 that I'm making at one point in time is gonna be $100. So I was already looking at that when I was up $10. I was automatically saying, yo, this is $100 trade. If I would have closed this at $100, how would I feel? Boom. Especially like around that time delivery driving. Like I was making maybe $200 a day or something like that delivery driving. I don't know. I don't remember what it was, like 100, 200, roughly in that range, right? Anywhere between 1 to 200 every day delivery driving. And to put myself in a perspective back then, when those $10 trades, I was like, yo, this would be $100 trade. How would I feel about it? I'm like, yo, this is exactly what I would have made in X, Y, and Z hours delivery driving. I would have been a lot more confident, a lot been more happy. And then once I started making $100, then it was like, yo, at one point in time, these $100 wins are gonna be $1,000. If I made $1,000 in this one trade, how would I carry about myself? How would I carry about my day? What would I do with my day? X, Y, and Z. And I was like getting to the point where I'm like, why don't you do that now? Because think about it, like I was like, okay, if this was a $10,000 trade, right? If I made $10,000 in one trade right now and I closed out at 10,000, what would I be doing right now? I would be like, yo, like, I would be done trading. I wouldn't be looking at the charts no more. I would like go work out. I would, go out in nature. I would go read my Bible. I would go give God things. Like I would just go be out in nature and just take time to be grateful for what I have, right? Or maybe go take a trip here, or just okay, boom. Let me just take my um dog. Well, now I have a dog, but like the thought process back then, I didn't have a dog. But let me just go on a trip. Like I'll just go drive, go rent out a like a what's the word, like a cabin, or something like that, and just go out into the mountains, go take like a nice drive, go out into the mountains, like get an Airbnb, right, in some nice secluded beautiful mountain area, and just go there for a couple of days. Like just go there for a couple of days and chill and just be out in nature. And if I see a setup in the market here and there, yeah, I'll take it, but I wouldn't be in no rush to try to get into any more trades. And when I started saying, yo, this is what I would have done, I started telling myself, well, why don't you do that now? when you close out at that $10 trade or that $100 trade, obviously there are certain things that you couldn't do. Like I couldn't just, if I was just making $10 or $100, I couldn't just like immediately go withdraw that and go like drop, because obviously it costs more for like Airbnbs and stuff like that. But I'm talking about like the initial part of like I wouldn't need to be on the charts no more for the rest of the day. Why don't I treat that the same way when I made that $100? Like back then when I was making those $10, $100, that's how I used to blow so many accounts, because I was only making, in my mind I was like, oh, this is only $10. I need to trade more setups, more setups, more setups, more setups, so I can make a bigger profit. Like why would I just only make $10 and be done for the day, right? That was my thought process. When I looked at it as like, yo, if I was making 10,000, I would have done that. So why not do that now? And then go out in nature and go work out in X, Y, and Z. And once that happened, it clicked, and that's when everything really started taking off. And that's the biggest difference. And that's how, even still to this day, that's how I look at the profits that I make. Every single thing that I make, I don't even look at what I'm currently up. I look at the next level up, and the more and more I keep do that, for one, because those small things are going to add up to it. If you're looking at it, let's say for example you're making $100, and you know that eventually this is going to be $100,000 trade. By the time you get to $1,000 trade, you done already made $1,000 probably multiple times. Keep that in mind. If you're making, let's say, $100 here, $100, $100, $100, $100, you make probably 200. If you make $100 10 times, that's $1,000. And you keep on doing that over and over and over again. Let's say you make $100, and then you make $200, and you make $300, then you make $400, then you make $100, $200, and you did that, like, let's say over 10, 20 trades, right? And let's say obviously you're not gonna win those many trades in a row, but let's just put it into perspective that you won 20 trades in a row, and they were all like, you would have already then made $1,000 multiple times. If you was making $200 trade, $400 trades, $500 trades, $600 trades, $200 trades, $100 trades, $300, you'd have made $1,000 multiple times by the time you hit your first $1,000 day. So at that point in time, it's not gonna be any different, because like, okay, $1,000 trade, you've already made $1,000, let's say in a week, or whatever the case may be, or you made $1,000 in a day. Let's say you made a $500 trade and a $500 trade. You made $1,000 in a day. Like, you've already made $1,000 multiple times. So once you hit that $1,000 one specific trade, you're used to it. And then you do the same exact thing, going from $1,000 to like the 10,000 or $2,000 trades, or whatever the case may be. $1,000 to 2,000. You keep on doing that over and over and over again, depending on where you want to get to. So that is personally it for me. That is, if I had to teach, let's say I had a kid, teach them from ground zero, or younger me, or just teach somebody who had zero knowledge at all in the market, this is what I would do. Hopefully this video did edify you. Hopefully this video did help you. Let me know what type of videos you guys want to see as well. Wanted to switch it up. Like all the live trading, yes, dope. I'm not big on the whole like getting an audience based on profits. That's one thing about my channel. That's one thing like that I don't really do, because I want to do things differently. Like, I know the spiritual warfare that goes on, especially when you start sharing profits. That puts a target on your back, and on top of that, you start attracting what you give out. If you're somebody who all you care about is showing money, and you feel like the more money that I make, the more money that I show, that will build my business. Of course, yes, it'll build your business because that's appealing to others. But what you start doing is attracting people who only want you for the money that you make, and not for the other aspects, not what you can actually, for who you are as a person. So that's why I want to do things differently. I want to show people that you don't have to share all the profits. That's why I even do my business. Like, people know that within like my actual business. Like with my mentorship, I share profits here and there, like here and there, but I'm not like every single trade I take I share profits. I'm not big on that, because how much money I make is irrelevant to how much money you guys make. That's how I look at it. Like, it doesn't matter if I make 10,000, 20,000, 30,000, $100, $10. It does not matter what I make. That's not putting money in your account. And I always look at it as like authenticity, because for me, God is the reason why I started my business, and God is the whole reason why I do this whole social media stuff anyway. Because if it was up to me, I would be ghost. I would have stayed ghost and not even come back, and not even share none of this. But the more closer you get to God, you see that this is your gift, and like, you got to share this with others. And it's selfish to withhold this wisdom and knowledge with others. So that's why I personally look at it. And that's why, and now I love generally what I do. I love teaching people and helping people. But the biggest thing is like, You don't have to share all of that. Like, you don't have to, and you can still become successful, have a successful business. And the thing about it, like, the last thing I'll say for me, I know that God is watching me. God sees what we do behind closed doors. So if you're doing things with ill intent, God sees that. And if I'm doing everything to glorify Him and for Him, I know that what's done in the dark will be brought to the light. So I would, and that's why I don't care. That's why I don't care about, like, and that's why you shouldn't care when you like caring about, well, what people may think is like, yo, does he really make like the whole, like, oh, demo and X, Y, and Z? Like, I could care less about that. If people want to believe it, they could believe it. If they don't, they don't. I'm not going back and forth or arguing with anybody to prove myself, and that's the biggest thing. As a trader, this is the last thing I'll say. As a trader, you guys gotta understand this is an individual sport. You don't need to prove anything to anybody. Trading is one of the only jobs in the world where you're the boss and the employee, and you don't need nobody. You could literally go ghost, not talk to anybody for the next 6 years and make $1 million from trading. That's it. And not have to sell no course, not have to do no business, not have to talk to anybody. Just you. That's the possibility that comes with trading. People make it a spectator sport. People make it an individual sport. People make it in a way like that. But when you go in the mindset to understand it doesn't matter what others think, you're just trying to, and you know your intention to just try to help others and provide value. Like, it doesn't matter. You should care less about that. So that's the last gem that I have for you all. Hopefully you all have a blessed, amazing day. Make sure to like, subscribe. Let me know what you guys want to see in the future, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.